Welcome back to the channel, where we bring you the latest updates and hidden narratives surrounding Catherine, Princess of Wales, and the royal family. Today, we have a story that's stirring major attention. Meghan Markle is reportedly preparing to take legal action against Lady C and Tom Bower after they exposed what's being described as a surrogacy bombshell within the polished and secretive world of the British monarchy, where silence is protection and secrets carry immense value. A direct challenge has now been issued. The Duchess of Sussex is said to be ready to use the full force of the law against two of the UK's most prominent royal commentators. However, in an unexpected twist, neither of them has backed down. Instead, they've openly challenged her to proceed, convinced that a courtroom battle would serve them better than it would her. At the center of this escalating conflict are questions surrounding the origins of the Sussex children, questions that could potentially trigger a constitutional crisis and expose long-guarded royal secrets hidden behind palace walls for decades. This legal battle, which has quietly simmered for years in online discussions and royal gossip circles, has now stepped into the spotlight. As is often the case, it didn't begin with a public announcement, but with the quiet arrival of legal warnings. Lawyers representing Meghan Markle and Prince Harry reportedly sent notices to critics, urging them to stop making claims, using the threat of legal action as leverage. The objective was clear: to silence ongoing and deeply controversial speculation about the Duchess's pregnancies and the births of Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet. The strategy relied on the assumption that fear of a costly and prolonged legal fight would force critics to retreat. But those targeted were not unknown bloggers or easily intimidated voices. They were two of the most established figures in royal commentary. One is Tom Bower, a respected investigative biographer known for challenging powerful figures and dismantling carefully crafted public images, from media tycoons to political leaders, while grounding his work in documented facts. The other is Lady Colin Campbell, widely known as Lady C, an aristocrat and author recognized for her sharp, often unfiltered criticism and deep insider understanding of royal traditions and protocols. Rather than apologizing or retracting their statements, both responded with striking defiance. Tom Bower, no stranger to legal threats, dismissed the warnings as a sign that his work was hitting its mark. But it was Lady C's reaction that truly captured global attention. Speaking directly to the camera with complete composure, she addressed the possibility of legal action and delivered a bold response. "Let him sue me." Those 4 words spread rapidly across the world, clear, confident, and unmistakably confrontational. It wasn't just a statement. It was a calculated move that transformed a private legal warning into a public spectacle, shifting pressure squarely onto the Sussexes. If they proceed with a lawsuit, they risk walking into a situation that could backfire. If they step back, it may be perceived as fear, potentially strengthening the very rumors they aim to suppress. What began as a reputational dispute is now shaping into something much larger, a battle that could impact public trust, historical narratives, and possibly even the royal line of succession. At the heart of this looming legal clash lies a process many fear: discovery. While emotions may run high, discovery is a precise and methodical legal mechanism, one that often determines the outcome of cases long before they reach trial. For those unfamiliar with defamation law in the UK and US, the term may seem technical, but for legal professionals, it represents the moment when everything is laid bare. Should Meghan Markle proceed with a defamation lawsuit, she would be required to prove that the claims made by Bower and Lady C are not only false but damaging. In doing so, both sides would gain access to discovery, a process that requires the exchange of evidence. In essence, it removes secrecy. Nothing is left hidden. In a case of this scale, the scope of discovery could be enormous. Legal teams for Bower and Lady C would have the authority to request extensive documentation, communications, and records. These wouldn't be optional requests. They would be enforced by court order with serious consequences for noncompliance. The potential demands could be deeply intrusive. They might include complete, unredacted birth certificates for both children, as well as full hospital records from facilities frequently linked to their births, the Portland Hospital in London and Santa Barbara Cottage Hospital in California. And it wouldn't stop there. Private emails, text messages, and internal discussions between the Duke and Duchess, their staff, medical professionals, and PR teams regarding the pregnancies could all become accessible. Subpoenas could extend to hospital logs, staff records, and financial documentation tied to the events. Every public statement could be scrutinized, examined against timelines, medical involvement, and factual consistency. Ironically, Harry and Meghan have long emphasized privacy as a central reason for stepping away from royal life. Yet, pursuing such a lawsuit could potentially expose the very details they've worked to protect. Sources familiar with the situation suggest that Lady C and Tom Bower aren't just prepared for a legal showdown. They may actually welcome it. Years of research, private contacts, and documented archives could all legally enter the public domain. And within a courtroom setting, their claims would be shielded from being dismissed as mere gossip. For the Sussexes, the stakes are incredibly high. Their public image has been carefully built around themes of authenticity, personal truth, and victimhood. But the discovery process doesn't operate on storytelling. It tests everything against hard evidence. In court, facts outweigh narratives. Ironically, the very effort to defend their version of events could end up dismantling it. That is the central risk they now face. It also explains the reported tension not only inside their Montecito home, but even within Buckingham Palace, where seasoned advisors understand just how unpredictable and potentially damaging the legal search for truth can be. This situation didn't appear overnight. It's the result of years of quiet speculation and unanswered questions, a slow-burning controversy fueled by unusual events, and a clear break from long-standing royal traditions. To understand the seriousness of these claims, it's important to recognize the institution the Sussexes are challenging. For centuries, royal births have been treated as matters of constitutional importance in Britain. Transparency wasn't optional. It was essential. This practice developed from difficult lessons in history, when secrecy around royal heirs led to suspicion, instability, and even conflict. Rumors of swapped infants or questionable heirs once had the power to destabilize the nation. To prevent such chaos, strict protocols were established. The birth of a future monarch had to be witnessed, verified, and publicly announced in a way that left no room for doubt. In modern times, this tradition evolved into a familiar public process, births taking place in well-known hospitals like the Lindo Wing, official announcements displayed outside Buckingham Palace, identification of the medical team, and the iconic appearance of the parents on hospital steps. Every detail served one purpose: public trust. For generations, this system worked. But when Archie was born in May 2019, that established pattern appeared to break. The expected transparency was replaced with an unusual level of secrecy and confusion. There were no clearly identified doctors, no confirmed hospital details, and the initial palace announcement left many unsure whether Meghan was in labor or had already delivered. Days later, the official photo call felt more like a controlled media moment than a traditional royal introduction. This absence of clear information created a vacuum, one that speculation quickly filled. Observers, both professional and amateur, began reviewing the public timeline of Meghan's pregnancy and noticed what they described as inconsistencies. Images taken close together appeared to show noticeable differences in the size and shape of her baby bump. One frequently discussed moment involved Meghan, heavily pregnant, and wearing high heels, squatting down with apparent ease to speak to a child, something medical professionals noted would be extremely difficult for many women in late pregnancy. Then there was her appearance at the British Fashion Awards, where she held her stomach throughout the event, a common gesture for expectant mothers. However, some analysts suggested the posture appeared less natural and more deliberate, as though maintaining position rather than offering support. While these observations were never confirmed as evidence, they added to a growing pool of questions circulating online and beyond. Gradually, these discussions began reaching more mainstream spaces, albeit cautiously. A veteran maternity nurse reportedly stated she had never encountered a pregnancy that behaved in such a manner. Lady Colin Campbell has maintained that her intention was never to target the children, but rather to address what she sees as inconsistencies created by the parents' actions. According to her, the lack of clarity has been unfair not only to Archie and Lilibet, but also to the royal family and the public, whose trust relies on transparency. Many traditionalists share a straightforward view. If everything is as it should be, then releasing the standard medical documentation, something historically routine for royal births, would immediately end speculation. Critics argue that the strong resistance to such transparency only deepens suspicion, but beyond public debate and media narratives lies a far more serious issue. This controversy isn't just about celebrity, media scrutiny, or personal privacy. At its core, it touches on fundamental legal principles that have supported the British monarchy for centuries. Figures like Tom Bower and Lady C are raising questions that go beyond opinion. They concern legitimacy itself, a cornerstone of any hereditary system. The current financial pressure makes the situation even more fragile. They rely heavily on public attention to stay relevant and sustain their income. Yet, the very spotlight they depend on is now exposing weaknesses in their narrative. Those familiar with the couple describe an atmosphere of tension and strain. Reports suggest that Prince Harry struggles with sleep, often staying up late into the night reading articles and watching videos that dissect every image and public statement. It has turned into a relentless cycle, day and night, where scrutiny never stops. The man who once left Britain to escape media intrusion now appears trapped in a digital environment of his own making. The same press he tried to manage is now a constant source of discomfort. His complicated relationship with the media is deeply rooted in the tragic loss of his mother, an event he has long associated with press intrusion. For years, he has held the media accountable for what happened in Paris in 1997, and that belief has become central to his identity. However, many observers point out a clear contradiction. While he criticizes the media for its role, he has also used that same media to launch attacks against his family and the monarchy. This dual approach has caused him to lose significant public goodwill, as people increasingly view it as inconsistent. Lady Colin Campbell has also offered her perspective on their dynamic. She suggests that Meghan may have initially believed Harry possessed substantial independent wealth separate from the monarchy. According to her, the moment he realized that the very institution he publicly criticized was the foundation of his status, wealth, and recognition may have been a turning point. There's a broader narrative surrounding them, one of overestimation and overreach. Whether entirely accurate or not, it aligns with how their situation is often perceived. They now seem caught in a difficult cycle. Their brand depends on visibility, yet the attention they receive today is far more critical and investigative. This, in turn, makes them more defensive, which only fuels further suspicion. And when it comes to uncovering the truth, the courtroom is often the final destination. A separate legal case in the United States serves as a cautionary example. Meghan Markle's half-sister, Samantha Markle, has filed a lawsuit against her, forcing Meghan into the demanding reality of legal proceedings, including depositions. A judge has required her to answer specific questions under oath. Despite ongoing arguments from her legal team dismissing the case, once a matter enters the judicial system, control over the narrative shifts. Public figures can no longer shape the story to their advantage. In court, storytelling gives way to sworn testimony, and every claim is tested against verifiable evidence. This is precisely the environment where Lady C and Tom Bower appear most confident. Their calm and calculated responses to legal threats suggest they are fully prepared for such scrutiny. They understand that emotional narratives, which may resonate in interviews or media appearances, hold little weight in a courtroom. For a judge or jury, my truth is irrelevant. What matters is objective truth, facts that can be proven. At the same time, there are signs that public sentiment may be shifting. Online discussions are increasingly filled with people calling for the issue to be settled in court, believing it is the only way to bring clarity and put an end to ongoing speculation. Another notable development is the recent silence from the Sussex camp. Known for their active communication and public announcements, they have noticeably refrained from addressing the situation on their usual platforms. Some interpret this as a deliberate pause. Others see it as a reflection of the seriousness of the decision they now face, one that could have lasting consequences, no matter which path they choose. Choosing to file a lawsuit means risking everything in pursuit of the truth. If the questions remain unanswered, they will only continue to grow, causing lasting damage to their reputation and casting doubt over their children's past. At this stage, the entire situation revolves around one persistent question repeatedly raised by their critics. If the claims are false, why not present clear and simple evidence to put the matter to rest? A single verified document or a statement from a credible medical professional could instantly end the speculation. Yet, for many observers, the absence of such a step has become the most suspicious element of all. Around the world, people are closely following this unfolding drama involving the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, waiting to see how it ultimately concludes. It may soon reach a point where carefully managed narratives and long-held secrets are forced to face the unavoidable and revealing scrutiny of a court of law. And that could change everything. Thank you for watching. Share your thoughts in the comments, and we'll see you in the next video.